Hey folks, welcome back to the channel, Pop Retro 1 at Twitter and at Instagram, facebook.com/popretro1 on the Facebook. Wanted to take a few minutes today to talk about a fairly new release. It's been several months back now, I guess, but I just finally got around to checking it out, and that is The Grave. Now, this is from 1995, according to Vinegar Syndrome. It was obviously shot, produced in 1995. Online, of course, the date is 1996. According to information I could find there, it actually premiered at Sundance in January of 96. Who knows if that's true? It's on the internet. Vinegar Syndrome, really good at tracking down their information and getting it correct. So we'll go with 1995. Now, The Grave, this is part of their VSA line, Vinegar Syndrome Archive, which is a special sub-label to Vinegar Syndrome's regular line. This was made for VHS oddities from the VHS era, things that don't quite match up with what folks who know the Vinegar Syndrome brand usually expect from them. So they created this brand a couple years back to kind of branch out a little bit. And I've loved all the VSAs simply for that reason. They're really reminiscent of the type of stuff that I would have rented back in the day. And this one from 95 came out when I was probably in my second year of college. So I probably would have been a sophomore in college. I couldn't remember if we had rented this, my roommates and I, back then. But having watched it, I still couldn't remember if we did. It seemed familiar, but again, completely unsure. It's been so long ago now. It's hard to believe how long ago 1995 was. What's about 27 years ago as I record this today. So it starred Craig Sheffer, what is Craig Sheffer's most well-known role? I don't know. I always remembered Craig Sheffer as sort of a B-movie guy in a lot of those direct-to-video 1990s flicks that I would rent or see on cable TV back then. That's how I always remember Craig Sheffer. But I guess A River Runs Through It he was in 1992, so that was pretty well-known, so we'll give him that. And Craig Sheffer and Josh Charles are two inmates at a North Carolina prison, and they overhear a story about some hidden treasure, which is hidden somewhere inside a gravesite. And so, of course, these guys break out of prison, and their whole goal is to go and find that loot, find that treasure. And the movie is based around their exploits of trying to do that, and all the colorful characters that they meet along the way, and old friends and acquaintances, and lots of offshoots and double crosses, and people also who learn about it wanting to get in on it, and things of that nature. So when it first started, I thought it was kind of slow because just a lot of talky exposition scenes at the prison that they were at before they break out. And I thought, man, is this going to be the whole movie? It's not a horror movie. It's not really an exploitation movie per se. It's not a thriller. What am I watching here? And it turns out that after you get by a lot of that exposition, it picked up, and I really did enjoy it. And it was comedic. It was funny. It had a lighthearted sense of humor, sort of in that Southern Gothic type of feel. And I think around that time in the mid-90s, Tarantino was still hot and new, and movies like the Coen brothers movies, things like Fargo and things like that. This is reminiscent of that type of style of movie, which I wasn't particularly interested in back then. I kind of, when I saw that stuff, I was kind of turned off. I was like, oh, okay. And I don't know why. The older I get, the more interested I am in stuff that I dismissed many years ago. And that's what this sort of reminds me of, is just sort of a more of a perhaps indie level offshoot of one of those types of movies. So also starring in it is Anthony Michael Hall, former Brat Packer, trying to shed that Brat Pack image probably back then. And he plays a a pretty slimy character, but he does it so well. It's fun to watch, and again, chuckle-worthy. It's pretty funny. And also, Gabrielle Anwar. And man, I'd kind of not forgotten about her. I just hadn't thought of Gabrielle Anwar for a while. And she was in, of course, Scent of a Woman, Body Snatchers, For Love or Money with Michael J. Fox. And what was the TV? The USA, Burn Notice. She was in Burn Notice, which I really liked too. So she's in this and plays a major role. And also Keith David and Eric Roberts. Eric Roberts has a small part in this as well. And so a lot of those 90s, mid-90s direct-to-video names that you recognize are in this, which, surprise, went direct-to-video. Apparently it aired on HBO first and then went to video via Republic Pictures, home video back in those days. So take a look at the disc. There's a look at the back. These are numbered special editions by Vinegar Syndrome for Vinegar Syndrome's archive. I happen to have number 635 of 5,000. So a fairly low number, I suppose. Let's pull it out. These are the bottom loading slip covers, sort of a throwback to the VHS era, which is why they do it like that. Take a look at the disc. There's the back. Comes with a poster, which I won't unravel here. All of the VSAs contain a poster. There's a look at the Grave disc, and there is a reversible artwork, which you can see right there, which looks like the back of the slipcover. Special features on The Grave. There's a commentary track with the writer-director Jonas Pate. Jonas Pate, I should mention too. He wound up being a part of a lot of I say modern TV, but it's old TV now, but post-2000s television series that wound up being short-lived, but that I was really interested in. Because as time went on, I got less and less interested in a lot of TV series. And new ones that I would give a chance were kind of more far and in between. But for Jonas Pate, he created a series called Surface, this was in 2005, I believe. And starred, I think Leighton Meester was in it, and Lake Bell. And it was really good. I enjoyed it. It only lasted 15 episodes or something, one season. But it was back during when Lost was really popular, and all the networks were trying to find the next Lost. And so there were, sort of derivative, sort of knockoffs, and not like direct copies, but just the whole, what do you want to call it? Mystique and mystery, and everything ends on a cliffhanger, and oh my gosh, what's real and what's not? That type of feeling that Lost had, where where it was sort of sci-fi and fantasy mixed in with reality, and it was that sort of a thing. And so he was the creator of Surface. He also directed episodes, and I think was a producer of 2007's Bionic Woman, which was a short-lived revival of the old Bionic Woman TV series. The Philanthropist in 2009, another short-lived series that was kind of an action-adventure series that I liked, that I remember watching in 2009. The Event in 2010, again, another mystery series along the lines of, I should call it like a conspiracy theory type series too. That's kind of what Lost was kind of. And so The Event was kind of like that in 2010, and then Deception in 2013, and Blood and Oil in 2015, which was a Don Johnson drama that was kind of like a throwback to the days of Dallas and Dynasty, which, it was amazing because of all the TV shows that I didn't watch throughout the 2010s and mid 2000s, he wound up being a part of a lot of the ones that I actually was interested in checking out and that I actually did watch, many of which I have back here on DVD releases that they released over the years. So Jonas Pate, interesting. And I found it very interesting that he was the director of The Grave as well back in 1995. So there's a commentary track with Pate on this. There's also an interview with Pate, an interview with actor Keith David, cinematographer Frank Prinzi, special effects artist Jeff Goodwin and Rick Poore, and an interview with composer Alex Werman. And a double-sided poster I already showed you. And again, this is limited to 5,000. It was newly scanned and restored in 2K from 35 millimeter vault elements. One of these days, I want to have a vault so that I can have vault. All this stuff behind me can go in the vault. And when somebody comes over and says, let's watch a movie. What do you got? And I go, I don't know. Let's see if we can unearth something inside the vault. It just always sounds so cool. Like there's some, big metal room, that you got to turn the big dial to open. And so that's where Vinegar Syndrome apparently finds these long lost 35 millimeter vault elements. So there you have it, folks. It is The Grave from Vinegar Syndrome Archive. Thanks for checking out the channel. Thanks for coming back again. And hopefully you'll come back for my next video coming up, which will either be a review or a haul video. Either way, I will catch you then.